Let me ask you an honest question. How many clients have you missed out on over the last 6 months because your marketing strategy isn't clear? It's kind of an uncomfortable answer, isn't it? If you're like most online business owners I meet, the answer is a lot. And if you're feeling that way, you're not alone. The truth is, if there's one challenge that I hear more often than anything else from the online business owners I meet and mentor, it's I'm missing clarity on my marketing strategy. I'm not entirely sure what to do or what the right next steps are to market myself online. Maybe you look at your business today and you're like, okay, I've been able to get to a certain level, but it's been mostly based on referrals or word of mouth, inconsistent marketing. I don't really have a core strategy, something I can rinse and repeat that really works so I can take control of my lead flow and have a consistent flow of leads and clients coming in the door. Or maybe it's you have some version of that. It got you to a certain level in your business, but you're looking at scaling and you're saying, okay, well, the thing that I'm doing today is not sustainable to take me to the next level. I need a new strategy for marketing my business that's going to allow me to bring more leads into my business in a way that's more scalable and leveraged and sustainable. Because what I'm doing right now is just going to burn me out if I keep doing more of it. Or maybe you're just missing clarity on what to do to market your business online in general. As a result, you're doing a bunch of different things. You're applying a bunch of different strategies, but you're not even sure if anything's really working. It feels like you're wasting a bunch of time doing things you probably shouldn't be doing, but you're not entirely sure what really works when it comes to marketing. If any of that sounds like you, you are so not alone. This is one of the most common challenges that I hear from online business owners. And I'm super glad that you're listening to this episode today because this is going to be so incredibly valuable for you over the next however many minutes this episode is. What I want to do is I want to share with you a very simple 3-step marketing framework that will make the process of marketing your business online so much easier. It's going to show you what you need to focus on. And by the way, this is relevant for you regardless of what niche you're in, regardless of what stage you're at in your business. This works for folks who are in the earlier stages of growing a business, as well as folks who are scaling past multiple 6 or multiple 7 figures. This framework is going to apply to you no matter what. And the powerful thing about this, the reason I'm so excited about sharing this is, when most people think about marketing their business online, they tend to focus primarily on the tactics. In other words, should I start a Facebook group? Should I do YouTube ads? Should I do a podcast? Should I do Instagram reels? And the truth is, all of those things can work. They're all great. And the tactics come and go depending on, where we are in the world. Different platforms are going to change. There's going to be different things that work better at different stages. But underneath those tactics, we have marketing principles. The things that don't change. The things that if you understand them, they will better equip you to navigate all of the twists and turns when it comes to marketing as we move into the future. And what we're going to be talking about today are those marketing principles. This 3-step marketing framework that I'm going to share with you. It's called the Marketing Flywheel. This is something that I use with every single one of my high-level coaching clients. It's literally the backbone of how I build out marketing plans and marketing strategies. And once you understand this, again, it's going to make things so much easier, so much simpler when it comes to growing your business, getting more sales and clients, and just having clarity on what you need to focus on in your marketing to bring more leads in the door. That is why I'm super excited about this episode today. Now, the core idea I want to share with you, and if there's really only one thing you walk away with from this episode, it's that success in marketing really comes down to 3 simple steps. What are those steps? Grow, nurture, and invite. I'll say that again. Grow, nurture, and invite. These 3 steps are the backbone of any successful marketing strategy. And the truth is, when you know this, when you know what these things are, you can actually plug in tactics into any one of these areas. So there are different tactics that might work for grow, And there are different tactics that might work for nurture, and there are different tactics that might work for making invitations. We'll talk about what these things are, by the way, in a second. If you're like, what is grow? What is nurture? What is invite? But really, these three key things, grow, nurture, and invite, are the keys to success when it comes to marketing your business online. You got to have things that you're doing in each of these areas. Now, when I explain this or share this inside of our programs, I actually lay these out, these three core activities, grow, nurture, and invite, in what I call the marketing flywheel, which it's hard to communicate over this podcast. But if you imagine, let's say, a circle, and then you cut that circle into three different pieces, like almost like a pie chart. And then you put grow in one and nurture in one and invite in the other. And then you draw little arrows around the circle. So the circle kind of looks like it's rotating. That is what I call the marketing flywheel. And this is basically an image of this framework, this three-step process. The reason why I like drawing this out as a flywheel and what I call a flywheel is because I think of these three steps as a wheel that you turn in your business. These three steps are really something that you want to be doing on a daily basis. They're three activities that when you've got a couple of things that you're doing in each of those areas and you do them as a rinse and repeat each day in your business, that is what is going to bring more leads in the door. So I like thinking of this as a flywheel because I don't think of this as like a one-time activity or a one-time process. It's something ideally that you want to be thinking about every single day. And that image of the flywheel with those arrows around the edges of the wheel just really helps illustrate that for me. And it makes it, easier for me to think of this as not a one-time event, but something I'm doing every single day as the lifeblood of my business. So let's talk about these three key steps in more detail. First, I want to talk about grow. Grow is pretty simple. Grow is, what are you doing in your business to make it so that more people in your niche know about you today than knew about you yesterday? Basically, how are you growing your audience? Is another way of thinking of it. How do we make it so that if you have 500 followers today, you have 501 followers tomorrow, or 505 followers, or 510 followers. And that those people who are coming in the door, who are coming into your audience, are people in your niche, not just random people, but people who could be a good fit to work with you down the line. So we need some way in your business of essentially getting in front of new people, building relationships with people who don't know you. So a way of thinking about this, oftentimes when I talk about marketing, I'll talk about dating. Because the truth is, actually, the process of courtship, regardless of whether you're talking about courting a romantic partner or whether you're talking about courting a client, the principles are actually exactly the same. And so much of what works in dating, actually, if you just take those things, you apply them to online marketing, you're going to be actually quite effective. They're really not really that different. So my partner, her name's Kimberly. We've been together for 4.5 years. We have a wonderful relationship. I love her dearly. And, when I first met her, it was actually a little bit before the pandemic started. And I remember I was in a period of my life where I really wanted to find somebody. I'd been single for a little while and I had been doing a little bit of dating, but I was like, nothing was really landing. And so, once I kind of made that commitment internally, I was like, okay, I want to really put myself out there. I want to connect with people in my quote unquote niche, people who could be a good fit to be in a relationship with, which for me was, I wanted someone who is a little bit more spiritual and conscious and self-aware, someone who is, interested in personal growth and development, and someone who wanted to dive deep because I'm someone who loves to go deep too. I wanted someone like that. And so what did I do? I asked myself, well, okay, how do I grow my audience? How do I get in front of people who could be a good fit to potentially be a partner? And so I was like, okay, well, I'm living in Los Angeles. I was in Burbank at the time. And I said, let me reflect on all the different places that I might be able to connect with people. Well, I could go out on dating apps. So I signed up for Bumble, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't miss dating apps, I'll tell you that. But I put on my profile, I was like, okay, here are the kind of things I'm interested in. I'm a deep diver, and I put some pictures of me and my dog because everybody knows if you're a guy and you put a picture of a dog, you and a dog on a dating profile, you're going to get some hits. It's like a free pass if you got a dog. You got to take advantage of it. So, I put pictures out on Bumble, and I was doing that. And I started looking in meetups locally, and I found this meditation group, and I didn't just go to the meditation group to meet women, but I actually was really interested in going to this, and it ended up being a great way to meet a lot of friends. And I connected with Kimberly actually at this meditation group. One night we were there and we were hanging out, and she was there, and I looked over and I said, she's kind of cute. And she's also interested in what I'm interested in, meditation and, spiritual growth. And these were things that, drew us together, and they still draw us together to this day. So if you look at that, you say, okay, well, this is how I was doing that when it comes to dating. How might you apply that principle when it comes to your business? Well, obviously you need some ways to get in front of new people in your niche. And when it comes to online marketing, there are really only 3 ways that you can do this, 3 ways that you can grow your audience: buy, borrow, or create. It's pretty simple. So 3 core strategies. Buy is essentially when you go out there and you trade your money for attention through, for example, running ads. So this is a big part of our business today. We spend almost $20,000 a month on paid traffic. We're going out every single day, and I'm basically giving my money to Meta. I'm saying, hey, Meta, put my ads in front of people in my niche. And so every single day, we've got people who are opting in to download our free guides, our lead magnets. And maybe, you're one of them. You're someone who at some point you downloaded something of mine, and now you're on my list, and now you're listening to this podcast. We're building a little bit of a relationship. That was a strategy that I used to grow my audience, which again is the first step of this flywheel: grow. So that's buy. Now on the second hand, we got borrow, which is actually the strategy that I was using when I met Kimberly. So borrow essentially is like, how can you go and get in front of communities where your ideal clients are already gathered? Maybe there are some podcasts in your niche where you can get interviewed on them. And those podcast hosts have spent time cultivating an audience of people who are in your niche, and you can just get out there and create a bridge back into your world through showing up and doing an interview or doing a training or sending an email out to somebody else's list. There's so many different ways you can leverage this borrow strategy, but really on a most basic level, it's just getting in front of other people's audiences where your niche is congregated and using that as a bridge to bring people back into your world. So this is what I was doing when I was going to meditation groups. I was like, okay, well, all my people are already gathered at this group. Let me just go hang out there and go build relationships over there because those people are already there. Someone has already taken the time to cultivate this community. It's easy for me to just show up in that group versus the third strategy, create, is anything you do basically where you trade your time for building relationships with new people. So you could go out and you could start sending outreach messages on Instagram, or you could create reels on Instagram. Those are 2 examples of create strategies where you're basically creating content or you're having conversations with people, strangers, and using that as a bridge to bring people back into your world. So these 3 simple strategies, buy, borrow, or create, are really the only 3 ways you can grow your audience. And so the key is you got to just have one of them or multiple ones. Generally, if you look at established online businesses, like we're using all of these strategies in my business today. It's not about one versus the other. It's not that one is better than the others. There's pros and cons to each of those things. We're not going to get into this in detail in this episode today, but the idea is that you have 2 to 3 tactics that you're leveraging within those 3 strategies to grow your audience over time, to make it so that new people who don't know you every single day are coming into your world. So that today, more people in your niche know about you than knew about you yesterday. That is the goal of the first step of the marketing flywheel. And this is typically the place that most online business owners struggle with most. Sometimes it's because they're just doing too much. I see this quite often where it's like you're doing 50 different things to grow your audience and you're spreading yourself so thin, you don't know what's working. You're trying so many different strategies. You're not sticking with anything long enough to really make it work. All of these things can be effective. There's so many different ways you can grow your audience. The key is picking a couple of core strategies, going deep, doing them consistently, and measuring the results over an extended period of time so you can evaluate whether or not what you're actually doing is working. Most people switch things up too fast. They're not evaluating what they're doing, so they're just trying a bunch of things, but they're not stepping back and asking themselves, is this even working? Or oftentimes I see a lot of people getting distracted by things like vanity metrics when it comes to growing their audience, where it's very easy to just start creating content that gets a lot of likes or gets a lot of people following you, but it might not be the right people. So really being able to ask yourself in this step of the flywheel, how do I not just get new people into my audience, but the right people, people who are actually in my niche? So this is the first step of the flywheel. And when you do a good job of this, the result is you got new people coming into your world who didn't know you yesterday, who know you today, who are in your niche. The first step to success when it comes to marketing. Hey friend, hope you're enjoying this episode of the podcast. And before we get back to it, if you're an established online business owner who's serious about unlocking your next level of income and impact and growth in your business, I want you to watch my free $1 Million online business training, where I walk through a 4-step roadmap I've personally used to sell well over $1 million of coaching, consulting, and courses online. It's going to make the journey of growing your business so much easier. I want to give this to you for free. All you got to do to access it is go to jasonmoss.com/growth. That's jasonmoss.com/GROWTH to get free access to this training right now. Now back to the episode. So if I would have never gone to that meditation group, I would have never met Kimberly. But when I look back over, our first meeting and, then I asked her out on a date shortly after, the truth is we were not love at first sight. It took a while. Actually, we went out on a date. It was not a very good date. And I love Kimberly. She's amazing. But that first date, she might, have something else to say about it. But she talked a lot about herself the whole time. And I love Kimberly. She's amazing. And I've really enjoyed getting to know her. But she didn't ask me about myself at all, or very little. And so I remember just sitting there on that first date. And Kimberly, if you're listening to this, I love you. You know how I feel about you. But we know that first day was not very good. And we didn't hang out for a year after that until the pandemic hit. And then I don't know if it was just, maybe we were, it was the right time, right place. Or maybe our standards were lowered because we were like, okay, we just need somebody to talk to. This world's burning up. We need somebody to hang out with. I don't know what it was, but things hit really fast. Right at the beginning of the pandemic. But we went on that date a year earlier and it didn't go anywhere. So why am I sharing this with you other than to tell you, my dating history? Well, the truth is, when it comes to the journey of getting to know someone, this doesn't happen overnight. You don't go from, I have no idea who you are, to wanting to spend the rest of your life with someone overnight. And the same principle applies to building an online business too. There's a nurturing process that happens. When people come into your world, they don't really know who you are. They're not ready to work with you in most cases. Maybe 2-3% of your audience are ready to go. But the truth is, for most of the people in your audience, they want to get to know you. They're going to want to warm up to you. And so that brings us to the second step of this 3-step flywheel, which is nurture. Nurture is really simple. How are you building relationships with the people in your audience and warming them up over time? Just like me and Kimberly went out on a date, didn't go anywhere. Then we started talking again during the pandemic. We started with a little bit of texting. It was a little bit of like friendly banter back and forth. We did that for a couple weeks. Then things seemed like they happened really fast. But there was a process getting to know each other. And it started light and it got deeper as we went. The same principle applies to online marketing. So when it comes to your business, you got to have a way that you're doing this. And the 2 ways that you can do this in an online business really only two ways. There's lots of platforms you can use. You can use social media, you can use email, you can use SMS, you can use live trainings, you can use masterclass, you can use one-to-one conversations, and all of those things can be useful. But really, all you have is content and conversations to do this. So you can create a lot of content in your business and send it out to your audience via an email list or via an SMS list or via your social media. And over time, through somebody seeing you a lot through your content and hopefully getting to know you more and seeing you as what I call a likable guide, which we talk about in some of our other episodes, how to position yourself that way, someone starts to warm up to you and they see you as someone that they can trust and someone that can help them solve a problem in their life or in their business. But that doesn't happen overnight. So you can do that through content. Just showing people lots and lots of content. This is what we do. It's why one of the reasons why I create videos like this. Because if you're watching this or you're listening to this, maybe you've been following me for a little while, you're like, okay, this guy actually knows what he's doing. Spent some time with him. We're hanging out. So through a piece of content like this, I get to nurture this relationship with you. And hopefully over time, after listening to a handful of these, you start getting closer to the process where you're like, okay, this guy actually might really be able to help me. I should probably reach out to him. So that's an example of using content. We also have conversations, super underrated way to warm people up in your business. A lot of people don't take enough advantage of this ability that we have to create intimacy through just reaching out to people or through layering on one-to-one conversations on top of everything that you're doing. Some of the most effective and profitable online business owners I know are layering on lots of intimacy on top of their marketing. They're engaging with their followers. They're sending them DMs. They're inviting people to reply to their emails. They're texting people. And they're not just doing it to make a sale directly in that moment. Oftentimes they're doing it to just build relationships with people. When you can build conversations onto your nurturing process, you speed everything up. There are several things that speed up the process of someone getting to know you. The first is intimacy. When you have one-to-one conversations with someone, you create more intimacy. The second is when someone experiences you with greater depth. So when you have live trainings or long-form episodes, things like a podcast or things like a YouTube channel where you can go deep and someone can spend 45 minutes with you compared to watching a 60-second reel of yours, they're going to get to know you so much faster. And they're going to warm up to you so much faster when you give them the opportunity to connect with you with greater depth. So all this being said, we need a way to nurture people in your business. We need a way to do this well. And usually the best approach is going to be combining multiple different channels. So we've got maybe social media, we've got email, we've got SMS, a couple of different places you're communicating with people at once, and also a variety of different content styles and formats, as well as layering on one-to-one. Now, of course, there's a lot more to this. When we work with clients one-to-one, or in my accelerator program, I'm literally helping them with all of this. So if you want help with this, you should apply to work with us. But these are the principles on a high level. And of course, the nuances are going to depend on your business. And there's a big key to messaging as well. Like when we work with clients one-to-one, we're helping them with their messaging and what they're communicating and all their content. But on a high level, in terms of the principles, this is what it is. Showing up, nurturing your people so that, over time, people get to know you. They go from stranger to, I'm interested in working with this person. Think of my relationship with Kimberly. It was a long nurture. It didn't happen overnight. It was a year of a false start, a not so good date. Sometimes you just keep showing up. The timing's not right for someone, but then they have a moment where they're ready and things align and you're in the right place and they're in the right place. But it takes time to do this. It doesn't happen overnight. But when you do this while you're showing up on a daily basis, nurturing your audience, you're planting those seeds. It's just a matter of time before those seeds start to actually sprout. And that brings us to step 3 of the marketing flywheel, which is invite. Invites are really simple. Basically, what an invite is you laying out the red carpet for someone in your audience who is right on that fence. Maybe they're ready to work with you or they're just about ready, but they're not entirely sure, maybe they have some doubts or some fears, they need to know what to do next. So for those people who are right on the fence, and if you're doing a good job with grow and nurture, you got those 2 steps of the flywheel in place, you're always going to have a small percentage of your audience who are ready. They're right on the fence. They need to know what to do next. They need to know about your offers, what's available to be able to help them, exactly what to do, where they can go if they want to work with you on a deeper level. So invitations, that's what these are. It's you laying out the red carpet and saying, hey, here's how I help people. This is for you if you're this person. And if you're ready to take that next step, here's exactly what to do. And here's what's going to happen next. That is essentially what an invitation is. You can make these in 2 ways: content and conversations. That might sound familiar to you. You listen to step 2 on nurture. The same thing. And by the way, content and conversations, those are the 2 formats you can use with grow too. So you can make invitations in your content. Just like I did. What I just did, 3 minutes ago was an example of a little mini invitation. I said, hey, when we work with clients on this is kind of what we do. And if you're wanting help with this, you can apply to work with us. It wasn't a great invitation, but it was an example of making an invitation. So you can say in your content at the end of your posts or your emails or your lives and tell people, here's what I do. Here's my offers. Here's who it's for. If you're wanting XYZ, this is for you. Here's what to do next. Very clear directive action step. And also, here's what's going to happen after you do that to alleviate any fear, to create more safety so that someone feels comfortable taking that next step. You can also do this through conversations. You can literally just reach out to people in your audience. For example, I tell this story sometimes. I remember a while back, this is when we ran our first retreat in June. I had a guy in my audience and I was on my Instagram one day and I saw he just kept liking my posts. He was just hearting my posts. Never really left any comments. He was just hearting everything. But I checked out this guy's profile and I was like, this guy seems interesting. Like, I like his stuff. I like what he's doing. I feel like I might be able to help him. Let me just reach out to him. So I just sent him a DM on Instagram. I said, hey man, keep seeing your name pop up on my feed. Just want to say, hey. That's it. No, weird sales pitch or anything like that. And he wrote me back and he said, oh, it's so funny you reached out to me. Like, I've been watching all of your content. I've been taking notes. He sent me like a picture of his notes. I was like, oh, this guy's engaged. Like, he's warm. So I probably have some permission here. Like, let me ask him a couple questions about where he's at. So I said, hey, tell me a little bit more about what you're doing in your business. And he opened up and he shared where he's at. And I said, oh, do you have like a goal or something that you're working towards? And so he shared a little bit more about that. And then I had a gap. I was like, okay, I know where this guy is today and I know where he wants to be. Can I help him? Do I want to help him? Do I have something that can actually serve him? I asked myself those questions and the answer was yes. We actually have this program that we're about to launch. I think it'd be perfect for him because it literally is designed to help him make the transition, the transformation that he's wanting to make here. So I just pitched him on the spot. I said, hey, it's funny you share this because like we're launching this thing next week. I think this would be perfect for you. We actually don't even have it live yet, but like here's the sales page. I think you should sign up for this. And I sent him a link. 30 minutes later, I open up my inbox. He's got you made a sale in my inbox. And then after that, I was like, hey, we're actually running this retreat next week too. We got one spot left for this. Like, I think you should sign up for this. I think this would be really good for you too. Done. 10 minutes later, he signed up for the retreat too. Awesome dude. And I'm super glad he came. That's an example of using conversations to make invitations. One of the easiest ways in your business to make more money. It's kind of nuts how people don't do this. Most of the reason they don't do this because they're afraid. I'm afraid of someone saying no. But when you're not afraid of someone saying no, or you just accept that no is just a part of doing business, it has nothing to do with me. Like I pitch all the time. I'm constantly texting people, like our clients. I'm upselling on the back end, doing all sorts of stuff like that. It's just such an easy way to make more money. So content and conversations, you have these 2 ways essentially to make invitations in your business. The key is to do this a lot and to sell consistently in your business. And when you do this, what you do is you lay out that red carpet. Again, you create a pathway for people who are ready to take that next step and work with you so they know exactly what to do next. For Kimberly and me, we're not married yet. Maybe soon. Maybe not soon. I don't know. I'm still in the questioning of that. We are very committed and serious. But when we were dating for it was less than a year actually. It was in early stages of the pandemic. And one day we were talking and we were like, hey, maybe we should move to Colorado. I said, do you want to maybe move to Colorado with me? We ended up driving out to Colorado a couple days later. We're looking at places. We ended up, finding a place. Now we live in Colorado. And all of it started with that one invitation. You want to go? You want to move to Colorado? So there are moments in relationships where you make that ask, whether it's, do you want to marry me? Or whether it's, do you want to be my girlfriend? Or whether it's, do you want to move in together? Or do you want to have kids? These are examples of invitations. Same principle applies to marketing. So 3 very simple steps to the marketing flywheel. And 3 very simple steps to growing your business online. Grow, nurture, and invite. Again, grow. You got to have a way of growing your audience, getting in front of new people who don't know you. You got to have a couple of different tactics that you're doing, ideally on a daily basis, in order to make that happen in your business. So more people know about you today in your niche than knew about you yesterday. Nurture is you got to have a way to warm those people up over time through content and conversation. So people over time become more likely to want to work with you. They start to see you as someone they know and like and trust. And number 3, invitations, laying out those red carpet for the people who are ready to go or might be right on that fence, telling them what to do next, how to work with you. These 3 very simple steps, this is the key to success in marketing. And on a practical level, it's really about just choosing a couple tactics in each of those areas that work for you, that work for your niche, that you enjoy doing. You can rinse and repeat on a daily basis. And then also stepping back and evaluating, hey, is this stuff working? So reflection question for you as we wrap things up today. I want you to ask yourself, which of those 3 steps do you need to work on most? Grow, nurture, and invite. Which one of them? Maybe it's, hey, I'm really good at grow. My audience is growing, but I'm not making enough invitations. Or maybe it's, I'm showing up with a lot of great nurture content, but my audience isn't growing fast enough. I need better growth strategies in my business. So which of those 3 areas do you feel like you need to work on most? I hope this training today and this episode gave you clarity. The marketing flywheel makes things so much simpler. And so take this, apply it to your business. I'm super excited to see the impact this makes on you and your online business. And we got so much good stuff to come in this podcast. So stay tuned for the next episode, and I will see you soon.